Okay, it's kind of funny, guys. It's like you're getting the tour of the room as I have to move my little thing around. So now, see, now I can't see it so much, but the clock's right there. Kitchen's right there. The hall's right there. So that's where you may see some movement. I always see stuff. There's always things going around. So I don't know. I wasn't looking last time to see. But also, you know, I mean, I've got more lights on. We've been up for a while. Still having a really hard time. I think she must have hit her hand, her front paw into, like, I've got a lot of rocks and like it's foresty in my yard. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can run into. You know, I have paths around, but even on the paths, you can still run into things and get hurt. I've tripped so many times. And she has broke her nail a bunch of times out running and then hit into rocks or something. And so now I think that's probably what she did. But her front paw, she won't quit licking it. And we'll see if this medicine lasts through this whole thing. Because she's just super uncomfortable. And I'm hoping that's what it is, that she just like stubbed her toe. It always makes me worry, but even when I talked to them before about cancer, they were like, oh, she's too young for cancer, because it worries about me with the bone cancer. But I'm sure arthritis, when you got severe arthritis, it just aches and aches and aches. So I'm sure, you know, that I don't know the difference in the pain. I haven't had both. And even if each person had both to compare, but see, that's like what living is all about, is so that you go through the experience so you have some sort of reference. Not on everything on that. Like, you don't have to know what every single horrible thing feels like. But you get what I'm saying? I still feel like I gotta like sit up and move around and stuff, because I don't know. And the whole thing is so weird how it's like tilted. It won't surprise me if it just like tips over. And yesterday I went on there to look and see about getting a different one. And you know, before they're always like $19, some are on sale for $15. There's $29, like a $39 one. Like when you get up to $39 or $59, it's a lot more expensive. But then you go in and you look at the reviews and you look at the equipment and stuff, and it's like the same stuff. So yesterday I had some pop up that were 100 and 130, 140, 150, so they were more expensive. And so I looked, and it's like, it's the same thing. So I don't even know. It's just, you know, just got to get another one. So I don't know that I'm going to spend $150. It still seems like, I don't know. It's weird about the money thing. Because it's like, you want to put some money away for like, if I'm going to, like if I need to get a van or something. Because I was even thinking, what if, I don't know. Things can go so wrong at this point. Things can go so, and if it goes as slow, like how it's going so slow to get there, I'm hoping once we get there, that we're going slow is like the big, like how I see a big ship turning around, like this big turning thing. And I had heard Juan say that before, so I don't know if that's why it's in my mind, but it's like this big ship turning in this momentum. And so we're in the turn. It's like we're in the turn part. And then once we get going in our direction, once we get momentum going in our direction, it's just that we're in this turn. And I think that is why it seems so like skidding into home base, you know, how everything is suddenly slowed down as you skid it in. And, you know, it's what it feels like to me, is like, we're slowly skidding into home. Because I even said that like fucking weeks ago. I said it's like sliding into home slowly. And it's weird. I don't know. Some of the visuals I get. And I gotta say, oh my God, I'm so stopped up. At this point, it is like, oh my God. If this is the level like where people are when they go to the doctor and say, you know, I hear voices all the time. They're keeping me up at night. And some of them do say some bullshit. I mean, there's definitely some that really got me all amped up on, hey, I could just slice into there myself, just pop it out, and then just sew it up with a needle and thread. I know how to sew things up. Fucking Rocky did it in, what was that movie, First Blood or something? Sewed himself. I think a lot of actors. I think that it's been done, though. I don't think actors invented it. I think it's been done. They just copied it. I think that there's times where people have had to sew themselves up. So, I don't know. I mean, it definitely seems like an option. And, let me think. Because there was something else I was about to say about something. Oh, yeah, because I'm so scattered. I feel so weird. Ugh, I feel weird. I feel really weird. You know how weird it is to feel so weird? Somebody was really offended that I said weird too much. It's like, and people, yesterday, I don't know, I was seeing some kind of, something off one of my videos, and it was so much cussing, it cracked me up. I was like, yeah, for people who are offended by cussing, or you know, a lot of neurodivergent, oddball things that are going to come out of me. So I don't care. I think you got to embrace your weirdo-ness. That's not the part of me that's the part of me that was unacceptable. That was a part of me I couldn't hide. The parts of me that I would try and change to please others was more stuff to make them happy. It was like something would make them happy, and so I was always putting myself aside. You know, just like in the last marriage, it was just so clear to me. That's why I can reference it so well, because it was just, as I went on along my journey, and I was seeing, because when I started, and it's so weird, I swear to God, that there was an aspect of me selling my soul in there. I swear to God. That's what started it all. And so, going into the first relationship, and it was hellacious. It was so, I was so unexpected too. I was so young and naive. And then, you know, how my mom, who takes this marriage shit very seriously, even though she's living with the guy, got divorced and stuff like that. But, yeah, my dad, Mr., you know, cheats on his wife all the time, and he took it so serious. It's all about an image or something. My mom took it serious about, well, you said to God. And I'm trying to think, because was that coming from inside of me, that I had made a promise to God? Or was this part of this religious indoctrination, this religious programming that I grew up in or something? I don't remember. Because I remember once it got towards the end, that I felt that pressure, like I'm just giving up. I'm just giving up, you know. There was a lot of going back and forth. That's how I live my life. That's one thing too, is why people will think, you know, like I overthink things, or I'm weird, or because I got both sides playing out. I got to go through both sides. I got to think things through. I got to look at it from this side and that side. And I've just always been that way. I've always been standing back, trying to see more, trying to understand more. I used to always, and people thought it was so weird, but I would always ask people, well, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? And it wasn't that I didn't know what to do. I was always going to do what, you know, I always do what I feel like is right for me based on what my guides tell me. And so it's not like I'm going to do what you say, but I want to understand all the different ways of seeing something. But it's something that used to bother people. I think my mom saw it as a weakness. I think a lot of things about me, my mom saw as a weakness. I still think that she does. But I think that, I mean, I think she still loves me. I mean, I'm sure, like, that she would think that she, you know, loves me and thinks I'm the greatest thing. But then it's how people react to you. It's the things that they say to you. It's how that they treat you is what shows how they really feel about you. And I don't know what it is, you know, it comes from inside my mom. I just know that I got to not let it hold me back. I got to not let it work. I can't obsess. I can't just try and please somebody and, you know, try and get them to like you. It could be like, well, they've got some sort of issue. It's not my issue. So why would I get hung up in their issue? It's not my problem. It's like, But that took, you know, a long time. You go through rejection, abandonment, all that stuff with your parents. But that's what those relationships are there in a spiritual perspective to help you, to teach you, to move you into a state of independence. What did I just see this girl who was talking about some kind of situation that happened in her life? It was an abusive thing when she was a kid. But then she realized that the gift that she got from it, it was like a gift. And, oh, I saw this one, too. This one video yesterday I thought was really kind of cool. Because this girl, this woman, and she kept saying, I'm the daughter of a murdered woman. And then she would tell a part of the story. And then she would say, I'm the daughter of a murdered woman. It was very poetic how she said it. And then, it's going to make me cry. And then she would say the next part, and then she would say that same phrase again, like a chorus, throughout this story. And I don't remember having, crying through it. I don't know why remembering it is bringing up such emotion. But, so she kept saying that. And the story was her dad murdered her mom. And her mom had been in an abusive relationship with the dad for a long, long time. And the kids were asleep at night. And the dad murdered the mom. And then they had to get up and go sit in the police car and all this stuff. They even put the dad in the police car with them. The dad was whispering things in the daughter's ear. And, you know, and said, you know, sorry, basically, you know, your mom made me do it. And then he has never been charged. He just got away with it. But that is the thing, too, is I think a lot of people don't realize that there's people who get away with crimes because they're criminals. I thought a lot about with my dad, because there's, like, when I try and think about my dad and going into, because he left the farm. And I know one thing, too. He told me he was really, really embarrassed when he was a little kid. And this was a long time ago. Like, this would have been in the late 40s or early 50s or something. And people lived different. It wasn't so bougie, like, but it is, anything that you are different, it makes you feel so much humility. And apparently they had moved onto a farm and they lived in the barn, and all the other kids lived in houses. And so that was a huge humility to him. I don't know, because he had brought it up before, but he always saw, you know, he wanted to be like a city folk or something. He wanted to get to the city. And so that is what they did with my mom and dad. Like, it's so crazy, too, is how they started, because they reached such a point of success. But then my dad's addictions and stuff, you know, brought it down. And I think, I've got real tightness in my chest. And I think also, let me think, because his addictions, and there's an aspect of greed, of always wanting more and more and more. And, you know, like, it's never enough. Then there starts being something more to it, you know. It starts being more like about your ego or something. It's like where you have to look when things get out of balance inside of you and try and find where's the leak, you know. You can't just ignore that stuff, or it becomes bigger and bigger, and it will take over your whole life. And so, but he had that social climber part of himself, you know, to get ahead. And he was in the service, so he was already in their radar. He was kicked out, so they already knew, you know, his ethics or his morals or something were, you know, I think a lot of people would do a lot of things for money. So that has been a struggle for a lot of souls in their ethical. I think, you know, everything is about the learning. It's about the lessons and stuff, and about the expansion, and it's all playing parts. So you can't say like, well, that soul finally learned a thing or two. You know, all you really know is your own things or two that you are learning, because you are going through life and they are happening and you're learning shit. Things happen and you're just like, whoa, God, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, wow, yeah, that's interesting. And, you know, and I don't know, you know, how evolved everybody's thoughts are, you know, because I've been doing that since I was so young, having both sides. talking to me, and weighing things out, and then talking afterwards and explaining and stuff. So it's been very different. And I'm about to go off on another thing, because this another thing's coming up, and I gotta stay focused on these other two. As I woke up this morning and my daughter had sent a message, my oldest daughter, and it was kind of like out of left field. So then when something comes like that, you're thinking, so there's a conversation going on somewhere that I don't know about. Because she's like, oh, I remember you being spiritual. When I was a kid, I remember you'd always take us to different churches and always talking about that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't see how anybody can't remember me talking about like reincarnation stuff. I think the thing is with my one daughter, who I think was in the conversation with her, I think that because she keeps thinking I'm not spiritual, but I think she's basing it on this new trend of spirituality where you just focus on love and light. You don't think about this. You don't do, and it's like, yeah, I'm not that kind of spiritual. That's the new, it's weird to say the new age spirituality, because we were called the new age spirituality when we first started developing. So now to call these people the new age spirituality, it seems more suitable, because it is like this new age of the spirituality that is not, it has no depth. So I don't know, it's this new, I just think of it as like these super spirits. They're just sitting there patting themselves on the back, talking about how great they are. They're the Holy Grail. It's like, but you haven't even done the work. You haven't even, like, how much time have you spent in learner? Like, there's people who go out there preaching how they're so spiritual and they don't know anything about it. It's like, it's weird. So anyways, now this David Wilcock video is popping up. So David Wilcock, I saw a video this morning. I don't know if he just went live again over the weekend or something, but he was talking about that, his book. So when he did the books, like, and I totally get what he was saying when he said, he just channeled the books, wrote them, and then didn't read them. So he didn't know, because that's what I said. Like, I'll go in and watch a video and it's like, I didn't even know I said that. And I'll learn stuff listening to myself, so I can get what he's saying. Because when you just focus on, it's like you go into a certain room of your brain and all this other stuff is out there. You're not around all the other stuff. So you can just focus in this, it's like a slideshow kind of. It's like kind of like you're in a room with, it's like all these different, to me, it's like, in a room when it shows like, I don't know, a business meeting thing, and they have that big table and all the people around it, and then the person at the front doing the representation or whatever to show the people. That's what it's like to me. And so it's like, and I'm just another person sitting there. It's like all different souls can go into the room, tap into the information. Everybody could get the stuff. And it's weird too, is because like the slideshow would be, you would see pictures that made sense to you. That is something that they have shown me so many times. It's like your information is like designed for you to understand. So throughout your life, throughout your day, not just in the slideshow stuff. But so David Wilcock was saying that in his channeling with Michael or whatever, is so in 2025, but the weird thing is too, is he said that the sun is going to heat up, like it's going to explode fire or something. And it's plasma. It's like you see things going in and out of it. I don't know, the heat that we feel, it could even be just the energy, maybe it's just the energy. I don't know. I don't know how it all works. I just know that it's not what we think it is. And it's, it's a simulation of sorts, because that's, flesh and blood. And no thing is real, because when you change the frequency, it splits apart. It doesn't splatter. It's just the atoms move. That's what we're going to learn more about in this quantum development that we're going to go into. Is like how to control our atoms or something. So anyways, he was saying that in 2025 is when, I think he was even saying that we're going to be learning a lot of stuff until then. And then once we all get to this certain development, which what I was talking about before is, I don't see the solar flash happening until we get to the point of being able to stay in our conscious state of mind and let something like a whole, like I saw this video and somebody was filming a fire, and in the fire, it looked like a fire person was walking through the fire. I'm pretty sure there's some, and this is like a big fire, like Peru or some huge fire. And so then it has this thing walking through that looks like fire. And so that is what we have to get to ourselves in that state of mind, so that we can walk through the flames and know that we're not going to get hurt. And we know the flames aren't real. That is like what I've been talking about, is like moving up into that guru level, that transcendence of your body, of that levitation of being. And that is where we go into with the quantum. That's why it's going to change how we travel and stuff. Things are going to change a lot, because we're going to get more into this practicing with our minds, being able to control more things that we don't have control over. And like, I'll practice that stuff. But you know, I don't know all things. Like, we'll have people that will come in and teach us, I think, of how to do it. Because I try all the time. I try and be like, okay, these implants aren't there. They're not there. They're just not there. And try and do stuff with my mind and make things go away. But I feel like I'm in this place still, in this three-dimensional game, where my body would solve it by getting hurt and having to have them taken out or something like that. Like, I don't know that I have the abilities to just make them go away, you know, even though I keep working on it. But that's the kind of stuff that comes into my mind. And so I know it's like a practice. It's like, you know, you don't just go and start tumbling class and then you go and you are a master gymnast a couple weeks later. We got to practice this stuff. We got to learn how to develop ourselves and our abilities. And so that's, you know, it's just a part of it. But he was saying that that's what we're going to start doing. And then the solar flash will come, but it won't hurt us. And he's saying that that's like how the Book of One too. And the Book of One is saying like it's like 100 to 700 years or something of, but there's supposed to be like 1,000 years of peace. There's all these different things that say it's an age. It's an age of peace. But there's also the stages, the development to get there. Once we're there, and then the descent. Typically, I don't know, because this is like going into a different kind of cycle. Like, because once you get in these other frequencies, it doesn't have this, like this counterbalance. Like it's like, is it like you transcend out of that? Like that we're learning that, and then we steer and we find ourselves in this space of enlightenment, and that moves us into that vibration. And so in that vibration, it doesn't need to go back into negativity, because we've already reached this pinnacle point of positive. And so we stay rested in that place because we've steered our way up out of the dark and found ourselves in this place where we can stay balanced. And so we don't go back into those cycles unless you leave your place of balance. It's like they're moving, this reality is moving into the heavens, like. So it's like because down here, it would be, you know, you would go into this balance, counterbalance, balance, counterbalance all the time. And so it must be that it doesn't do that so much. So, so I don't know. But ages end, like, there's resets, because it resets the stage. But I don't know. I don't know if this is just going to be like a new place that just exists. I mean, the Pleiades, they don't just blow the Pleiades up, and maybe they are all on cycles, but maybe they're really long cycles. Maybe it's a part of the earth cycle to go through these cycles, like how we've gone through a lot of life reincarnations, and then it slows down, and then it moves into, if you can keep going. That's like why the message is kind of just like in this micro macro realm of just keep going every day. You just get up, you just keep going, just power through. When you hit an obstacle, you don't let it get you down. You just keep on going and know that something else is going to open up. Doors open. You don't have to go around beating on them and trying to force them in, and knowing that you think you know best. And that is where, you know, back on my dad again, because, you know, I mean, you would think he had everything going against him, and then they take off and go to Dallas, and then he ends up starting this business with this guy who I have no idea who, I mean, they knew each other or something from work, but I don't know. There's just, and I knowing about all the weird underhanded stuff that goes on. And then he ended up getting such a big and successful company, but it was like it was eating him up. Like and he could drive around all the time. Like, I swear to God, he'd drive around with a gun and a drink right there. And he'd just laugh about it. He knew he could get away with stuff. And like I said, how he could find people. Like he could find people. Like he could find me when I ran away from home. Even that guy that wasn't even somebody I knew. I don't think I ever even met this old man. Because we were 16 and that guy who, my friend, who was a virgin until she had sex with my boyfriend on the floor of our new apartment, which, you know, I know she wasn't a virgin, but that was the big draw to all these country boys. They thought, you know, she was something special. And I was like, I think she just leaves the town. Like, I think this girl knows what she's doing. And so she is, so she knew this old man. And so she was the one who said we should get an apartment and move. And everybody knew I'd had troubles at home for a long time. Like, I'd have to go stay at people's houses, and I was always bouncing around, especially when my parents got divorced. And then my dad got me my own apartment when I was 17. And that just turned into a wild party house. The apartments kicked me out because somebody started the kitchen on fire. And so it's just one thing after another. But so all the other people knew I had problems. But so she got this apartment with this old man was going to pay for it. And I didn't know, like, I thought the, like, sugar daddy thing, probably. But I don't think I thought that was like her deal. Like, that would be her deal. Wouldn't be mine. I don't know this guy. And then I thought, I didn't know that they would be, like, setting it up to use young girls and, you know, probably get them strung out and then have, you know, use them like how they do with the TRA-FFIC problem. And so it's been going on for a long time. But anyways, you know, my whole thing was even the day that I went to go see the apartment, when I come walking in as my best friend and my boyfriend are on the ground having sex. And so I didn't move into the apartment ever. But my mom told me that my dad had already hunted that guy down, the old man. Like, I don't know how my dad would find all these people. I don't even know who the fuck that guy was. But so to me, he always had those connections. Like, I feel like he was, I don't know. I feel like whatever it was, he was eating up from it. But I don't know that that means that he was, you know, going to rituals or anything. I don't think that they're all doing that kind of stuff. But I think they get people to do things to go against their own morals. And that's what will eat somebody up. It doesn't matter what it is. Even the thing with sex abuse and stuff is like you're going against somebody else. And so it eats somebody up inside. It's crazy how sex abuse can make kids feel so horrible about themselves when it wasn't them who was doing it. But they felt like that they should have stood up. They should have done this. They should have done that. Because everybody has a real live grown-up soul inside them. You don't have a baby soul. But birthed into the experience, it is such a like an equilibrium kind of, you know, where you're trying to get your what is that called? You're trying to get your footing. You're trying to get where you can feel okay. And so when you're birthed in, you know, you come in crying, and then you start looking at all the different people around you for the information, and they start feeding you you know, but we didn't know for so long that we're just passing programming on. We're just programming. We're all just programming each other. And so that's one thing I think is going to change a lot, is the programs. Like, people will develop their own programs. It will become more not constitutional, more open, more people figuring out. But there is also going to be a connection, because of the people who do the work, who move into that other layer, that they go into that connection, into their morals and their ethics. They follow that path rather than fight that path, trying to gain something that, when really what they're gaining is lessons, but they think they're going to gain something else, some sort of success, some sort of money, some sort of material, like a trophy or something. They think they're going to get something, so they chase something. But it really is, you need to stop and tune into yourself. Like, to me, of course, it's like you need to stop and pay attention to what is opening and closing. But see, you know, I think I'm here like to show this other way of living or something. But it's not to say that anybody did something wrong. As everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. Whatever you did in the past, you were supposed to do. Those were your lessons. That's what you were supposed to go through. That was what you were supposed to learn. So it's not like you're doing anything wrong. I just live differently. And I think that there are people like me who live differently, that when things turn, that people are going to be more interested in trying to develop themselves, and it's like breaking their programming and seeing like, oh, there's other ways to do this. Like, oh, so how does that work? You know, just like how I want to learn from somebody how to transcend my body, especially when I have awareness that I'm not my body, and my body is at this vibration that's low, and I know it's here. Like, you're trapped here. Like, you're trapped here until you're supposed to leave. So you can't get out of it. And unless you use your mind can take you everywhere. You can go anywhere when you travel around in your mind. Your body can't hold you. Just like a prison. A prison can only hold your body. And it's so crazy too. It's like, it brings me back to the kid who's entrapping herself in her mind. And I know she's not the only person. There's no fucking way this is the only person. This has got to be happening to more people. And trapping themselves in their mind. And it is like, fuck, it's like a prison system that you are creating for yourself. And you do it out of like trying to hide yourself. It's like you don't want to be judged. Hold on, let me listen for a sec. I'm cooking. I start cooking in the middle of the night. I was going to make sure it doesn't run out of water. Because I'm cooking a chicken and I'm cooking beans. And I just saw this video about all the benefits if you can fast. I really need to do a fast. And I have seen, now I'm thinking that medicine, I can't get it out right now because I had to scoot this whole table up. But the one that I kept holding up, the horse stuff, you know, is I do think it made a benefit on me. And you know the way she keeps licking her paws too. That is something in a dog thing that I've seen on different ads where it says that that's a sign of parasites and that they, you know, take this or that. So I was thinking, oh, maybe that is her licking and licking. But there's one that she keeps favoring. I think she hit into a rock or something. But it could be too, you know, all the stuff coming out of her, which could be making more of those things break out. But so I was taking notice of my own self. So I started on the charcoal yesterday. I did 2. I gave 2 to her too. And so I'll take some more today and for the next few days. But I do think there was like some sort of parasitic murder that was happening inside of me that was making me feel kind of sick. And that then you start getting those toxins out and then you start feeling better. But then you got to do the cycle right away again. It's like you got to keep doing this cycle. I think eventually, like, you can get enough of them gone. But I still think you have to do it like once a month. You have to. And then if any of them grew back or laid eggs, it's just like lice. It's so hard to get rid of. So it's, especially because they do stuff to make them more powerful or something, like whatever their, you know, the gain of is to make the bacteria stronger, to make everything stronger, to defeat us. That's their whole thing. It's just defeating us, keeping us under wraps, keeping us under their control. I've seen more people now talking about like the Sumerian tablets, and there's going to be more and more where people are going to start seeing all the things that they thought were so stupid, would laugh at us when we would talk about them. Because I was even thinking yesterday, it's so wild too, because Gaia Channel is right there. It has so much information, and I'm sure it has information directing us and how they want us to look at things, but that's why you got to go to a whole lot of different things and put all the pieces together for yourself, because they didn't cover every single base. You got to go out, and the more that you know, the more that it shows. So you follow your own thing. But so the Gaia Channel has a whole bunch. But I was thinking, his Cosmic Disclosure and stuff, it had so much information. But even Ancient Aliens, and that was on a long time ago. And that was on History Channel. Like, if you haven't watched Ancient Aliens, watch Ancient Aliens. If you can find it, definitely watch it. It has got a lot of information. And it was right there. So there's a lot of stuff that is like, I don't know, but people kept themselves completely cut off. Like, even now, there's still the woo-woo talk and Delulu. Now, they've got woo-woo and Delulu. Well, I'm not going to feed into your woo-woo and your Delulu. I'm not trying to feed your Delulu. It's like, what in the childish verbiage is everyone using on this stuff? It's like they're scared to take it seriously. They're scared to talk about it in a relevant way. So that just shows that I think that it's the same thing as like these name-dropping channelers or something. It's like they're trying to give themselves some sort of relevance or something. So they're trying to say, you know, like name drop or whatever. So anyways, let me think. Because I feel like I just go off and I get lost. Yeah, my chest is so tight, dang. Now, I swear to God, going into those fucking rabbit holes, that's why I don't like to go in. I mean, just like the ones with parasites. And then it's like everything, every movement. I feel these things crawling in my eyes, in my nose, in my sinuses, in my ears. I swear to God, I could feel them crawling around inside my body. And then start watching that stuff on the implant syndrome. It's like, oh my gosh. And I watched a bunch about the capsule thing. I still feel very much of like, no, let the capsule heal inside of me. Especially, there is so much scar tissue inside my body. Like when I was young, they cut all the way right up at the top, and they took my gallbladder out with a big incision. And that is always, I can feel the scar tissue around it and the inside of it. And it has always given me problems with trying to use these certain muscles. Like they fucked those muscles up when I was young. And then the bottom, they went through my belly button. They cut all in there and cut a ton of scar tissue. And then down at my bikini line, they did the same thing. They cut through the same cuts over and over and over. And even on my hysterectomy, I had 2 of them. And on my, when I got a tubal, then I got a reversal. I had a C-section. So they've cut in there a million times with all the scar tissue. And then I know from being a nurse, when they go in, when people are having a lot of abdominal pain and stuff, and they'll go in and they'll try and cut out all their adhesions. They're going to cut out the adhesions, all their scar tissue. And all it does is if your body is going to scar again, it starts scarring because there's something more to it. Oh, that was in my dreams. But it wasn't like I was in dreams. It's like, that's why I'm saying it's like I've reached this other point of where I think, you know, I definitely, if I went into a doctor, they would say I'm schizophrenic. But something in my dreams, something where I was, and something that we were talking about. God, that's weird when you start having this stuff merge. Ugh. It's weird. And just the constant, like, it's not even, like, when I was a kid, you know, and it started with the, I always go back to, it started with the water, with the soapy water, and where it was like, but I'm sure there was things before that, but I have to go through at both sides. Like, I wasn't going to be able to just get away with something. I had to go through both sides. I had to hear both sides, and then I had to hear about my choices afterwards and stuff. And so that has been how I have always lived. So it doesn't seem weird or hard to me. It seems like it's just a part of it. But I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of 3-year-olds now that are going through being able to look at more sides. But I don't think I think a lot, it seems like a lot of people just follow impulse. Like something, like, I want that, do it. I want that, do it. And they don't slow down and control their impulses and stop and think about their actions and consider the ramifications and both sides and stuff. I think that takes a slowing down. And I think a lot of people just don't live that way. And so I think, you know, I've always done it. I don't know how else to say, except for I think it is like just slowing down. You know, when you want to do something, you just stop and you think about it. You think about why you're doing it, what you're doing, who it's going to affect. And you just go deeper into your impulses, which makes you stop being impulsive, because then you slow down and you think about it. And it's funny for me to talk about that, because that has been one of my things where everybody's always said, you're so impulsive. Oh my God, you just are so impulsive. But I was, we'll go with my gut. I don't know how to explain that, because it seems like two different things. It's like, go with your gut, but then slow down and think about it. So I don't know. I mean, we all have the things that we go through. There's definitely things where people have said that I'm constantly impulsive and I don't think about anything. And I'm always like, well, because it's illogical. I'll do things that are illogical. But to me, I go with my gut. But my gut is the communication. But it's not like, I don't know. Because there's a lot of things where you slow down and think about them. But then there are some things you just do them because you're supposed to do them. Sometimes you're supposed to say the things you're saying. You're supposed to do that because that is the thing that causes the next thing. Like, you know, I was trying to think of what this video was, because I saw somebody talking about something that they did, but something else took over. And because I think I talked about this before, but you go into, you are destined. You don't have control like you think. And so you are here to learn, even on the hard lessons, even on the things where it's like stupid stuff. You're here to learn something from it. So even if you think, well, you know, as an advanced soul, you would already know all of this stuff. But there's something you are here to learn. You're here to play a part or whatever. And so there's automatic things you just do. Like, you are here to play a role. And it's out of your hands. And so you will do and say things automatically. Like you are a puppet, essentially, to your higher self. And the more you connect with your higher self, then the more you are a part of the plan. You're not just a puppet. But when you're disconnected from it, it's weird. Because I think, you know, people can say things and you're supposed to say things, but then they'll feel like really bad that they said something because it hurt someone's feelings. And so then they will, it becomes distorted, but you were always supposed to say that thing. The thing, because you don't know how it's going to affect other people. That is where you can overthink and get yourself stuck trying to figure out what everybody's going to think. You can't overthink things and figure out what everybody's going to think. You have to go with what you feel, what your gut, what is your impulse. It's funny to say, what is your impulse showing you? But there's a different level of impulse. That's why everything is gray. Everything is in the gray. You have to find your own balance, your own place where you feel comfortable. And so I feel like I'm saying these words and I'm just all over the place with them. Okay, so in your impulse, so where you feel impulsive, so something just feels like you have to do this, you have to do that, is where you gotta, man, because it depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from a place where you never stop and think and you're just running around doing stuff all the time, then, you know, maybe it's time for you to slow down and start thinking about what you're doing, how you're affecting others. You know, that could be a part of what your thing is. But it can also be a part of your thing where you need to disconnect from the overthinking and go more towards your impulses, go more towards the freedom of following your journey and not being so controlled and overthinking. And so everything is about this balance, and it's an individual balance. It's not like, you know, oh, well, if you get it over here, like, then you're the winner. It's not fucking bingo or something. It's an individual thing. And it's where you align. It's your alignment through the experience. And your alignment should be, you know, fluctuating throughout the experience. So, because you're learning and growing and expanding. But it is important to be comfortable. And sometimes, you know, you are the bad guy. Sometimes you say things that are going to make somebody feel bad. But that's the thing that they needed to hear so that they could grow. Something needed to push them. But then you don't want to be the person who's running around saying mean things to everybody, just blurting out what you really believe, really think about them. Because that can become hurtful and antagonistic, where you're just trying to cause friction. That can be self-sabotaging. And that can be you self-sabotaging your relationships. Like, everything starts getting deeper and deeper. And everything is so individual to your own self, your own experience. That's why you have to be the master. You have to go in and look. You have to go in and understand and see and decide for yourself. And decide for yourself. And it's kind of like based on morals and ethics. And I was thinking yesterday, it's weird because some of these groups have thought that they were based on these standards of morals and ethics, and that they had all come together as these groups of people that were all on the same page. But then all those pages started breaking apart because people started seeing that they weren't in alignment with these people. So it's everything is about going deeper. And not just getting hung up, not just, you know, what is that called? When you go dock on, like you pull up and you hook onto the dock, like you put your rope over the little thing. You're not meant to just go into every group and latch on, you know, hook on your dock tie thing, whatever it's called. You're not meant to do that. I think you're meant to, you know, pull up, you know, get off the shore, go up and shake some hands and, you know, meet and get information, you know, build your reference. But then you're not meant to get stuck. You're meant to keep moving and take it's like you're taking that information on your travels and spreading that awareness to other people. And what's so weird too is you carry that as energy. Like that is something that's out of your control. Like you will bring that energy with you. And that's why, too, with a lot of like dark energy, how people get so much of that dark energy attached to them. But the dark energy won't feel as comfortable with you. But the people can get so burdened by it. Because it can be more and more attaching. And I'm sure being at a mental hospital and stuff, that would be more and more attaching. I bet you there's so much dark energy. And, you know, and I know she's getting very, you know, it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. I just, you know, you got to get out of your head. You got to go out and talk. I mean, you got to remember, you were here for a month and all you said you want to get was the hospital. Now you're in the hospital and now all you want to do is get out of there. You're running from yourself. You got to get in there and talk. You got to get in there and express yourself. You got to get in there and use your voice. You know, it's important if you go around and you don't make eye contact with anybody. You know, you're getting yourself too lost in yourself. You got to go out and I think that this is very uncomfortable to a lot of younger people because they were creating this disconnect in the physical. And so many people are also bought into it. Like, man, some of these girls now have decided, you know, that they are news anchors with the bold glamour. They're news anchors now, and they are, it's funny, I'm just watching all this stuff go down. But, so you have to go off on one thing, and then it's like, what the fuck was I talking about? I don't know. Just talking about a bunch of stuff. Just talking about my opinions, which, you know, maybe nobody cares. Maybe it doesn't matter to anybody. But still, I think that, you know, it has value to look at things from different perspectives and to see more. So that it gives you more gray, more shades of gray for you to be able to pull from. Otherwise, you are bouncing between black and white, good and bad, you know, and you're trying to please others. And, yeah, what was that? I was going, you know, all of a sudden it's like back to the story that I was at the, but I don't remember. So, because when I very first started being married, oh yeah, because the, all of the stuff will become more highlighted in each relationship. Whatever your problem is that you are dragging around thinking it's somebody else, it will become more highlighted. So it becomes more impactful with each relationship because it becomes more highlighted. It keeps trying to show you and show you. But you keep hiding and hiding and saying, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. It's poor me, poor me. It's all them. It's all them. They're the asshole. I'm perfect. And so you get all caught up in that. But nothing gets better until you face yourself. Nothing gets better until you recognize your part, to the part you play, the role you're playing, your programs that you're running, because we all have them. And then people's programs are conflicting, and then we're blaming others, like, you're in my way, you're not doing this right. And that is how I lived a lot of my marriages. It was, you know, because I was just as weird. That's what drove people crazy. It's like, well, you know, we want you to look this certain way, but we want you just to don't talk. Don't just stop being who you are. All we need is the outside. It's where I've just seen a lot of things in life where a lot of things have made me understand about the superficial, the shallow, what people are after. And people don't want to see you on the inside. They don't want to recognize you on the inside. They get way more caught up on the outside than they do the inside. And the inside, man, and that is based on like vibration too, you know. Is like, I don't know, if everybody gets connected to their inside, maybe we'll all be on the same vibration. I don't know. Or if you just have certain people that you are in the same vibration and that you gravitate towards the people that you're vibrating with, because that is who pulls into your journey. Is like, that is a part of your gameplay. When you start in the game, you're out of this vibration that with the other people who vibrate with you, so they come to you automatically. That's interesting. Huh. I wonder if that is how it works. That everything is pulled in by vibration. So everything, man, that's weird. Like, I can see it, but sometimes you can see things and it's like, I don't know for sure what it means. I can just see it, so I can say what I can see. So, yeah, if the vibration... So you're vibrating with these people and you're always at the same vibration as them. So it pulls you towards them automatically. So you can't miss what is meant for you. Is always going to find you because it's vibratory match. It's like contracted in. It's like it has to be what it has to be. That's the part of destiny. That's the part of where you don't have control over things. Part of the... just relaxing into life and realizing what you're here for, realizing what you're here to learn and grow. But I think, you know, sometimes I feel like I can come across as like, well, you got to live this way, you got to live that way, which I'm not trying to say that is, but, you know, I know it's easy to come across that way. And it is easy to come across as really judgmental too when you're looking at things in an analytical way and trying to see what doesn't work, because there's a lot of things that don't work. And in trying to understand so you can help the people find their way out of their own trap. And so everybody's got like these traps that they are in. And so the more that we can share, like how we move through, how we maneuver out of our, you know, our traps, our maneuvers through life, the more that we can share that kind of stuff. I think it helps people. But I think that is, in the shift, there's going to be people that are going to want to live differently. They're going to want to look at things differently. They're going to want to advance more spiritually. They're going to want to play the game more on a higher level. They're going to want to level up in their game. They're not going to want to play it the same way, just being reactive, just hitting the balls as they're coming to you. You know, they're going to want to be able to go at life in a different kind of a way where it feels more like you have control. Confirmation. It's like you have control, but it's like, because it's how you look at it. It's because you know it's like you know, because your higher self is the one that fucking made this plan. So then the more that you can get in touch with your higher self, the more that you can become enmeshed with that aspect of yourself, the older, more advanced side of yourself, the side of yourself that a lot of people think is woo-woo and delulu or whatever, which can make you feel like you're crazy. Like lately, I have been feeling so crazy. It's like the talking is just nonstop. It is every little fucking thing is, we're talking about it. It's just talking. And, oh yeah, because the negative one keeps playing in my head about, oh, you could just take a knife and just cut. It's like, yeah, but would that be a good idea? Sounds a little impulsive. Sounds like maybe, you know, in desperation, I could do that. But just sitting here in my own cabin, that might be a little craziness. It's like you got to talk, you got to have that rational part of yourself, because they would have you doing crazy shit all the time. That dark energy, it feeds off of that stuff. That's what it likes. And it would get people. Well, I think that people are doing it. Like, we are seeing people who are doing crazy shit just nonstop. The impulsive craziness is going on. Now, that big crowd of people, that is coming. I swear to God, it has something to do with evacuating certain places. And it has something to do with humanity coming together. And humanity getting over their biases, humanity to see what you want for your rights. They don't start seeing these people don't have rights to the rights that you want. Like, that's where you gotta, oh, the rights are good for me, but well, that person doesn't need them rights, because that's where your biases come up. Because what? They don't speak the same language. They don't eat the same food. They live differently. So all of a sudden, they don't deserve the same rights as you. And I guess there's people who really, really believe this. There's this girl, she just did this video and she was like really upset. And she's like, I really didn't know people thought like this. She was talking to a family member, and it was something about food, you know, and they're like, well, do you think everybody deserves to have food? And, you know, even if they're not going to work, you think they deserve to have a home, even if they're not going to work? You think they deserve to have resources, even if they're not going to work? And she's like, yeah, everybody deserves human resource. Like, you deserve resources. You deserve basic human needs. But there's people who don't think so. There's people who don't think unless you go to work and that's programming. Like, I don't even know. Like, that's such deep programming that you don't give a shit about people. You just think you got to work. You got to do your part. Like, that is, I don't know. I would say deep in their biases, deep in something. They got some big lessons. That is, I don't know. There's stuff that I feel like I learned a long time ago when I was a little kid, or I just knew it. And it's like, there's people who don't know stuff still. Or they're here to have that impactful moment of learning it. They could know it deep in their soul, but they're disconnected from their soul. So they're going through this game for that impactful moment to remember. Is what so much of the stuff is a remembering. It's remembering inside of you. It's activating the parts of yourself that remember the deeper, bigger things. The parts of you that you had to keep distinguished in order to be relevant into the experience that you were having, so it could be more impactful. The whole thing is just right now, there's so much with this transition. There's so much changing from the old stories changing into new stories is there's the whole part of the transition. There's a whole part of all of this deep understanding, but since it's in a transition, there's different aspects to understand, and it all depends on what you feel that you need to understand. Like, you don't have to understand all things to be able to move forward. You just have to be able to connect with yourself, to be able to learn how to trust and connect with yourself, and to listen to yourself as you move through as you maneuver through the obstacles of life. I just saw this one girl, and I see her videos all the time, but I don't go into lists because there's a lot of people that just go on and say a bunch of stuff. And so whatever hers are, I don't know. I have no idea, but I see her all the time. But today I heard her say something for a minute, and she said that she realized that a part of her journey now is about her voice, that she has to speak up. She has to speak her voice. And she's already, has that. It could be in her life or something. I'm not sure. But that she has recognized that she needs to speak up. That's when it's moved up into the throat chakra. When you feel like you've got to start speaking your truth. That is a movement through the activation of all your Kundalini. And all of the different places that you hit into all have trauma and stuff that you have to release to move through them. There's a lot that goes on when you move into your heart space, and then your throat, there's a lot, and it's going to burden you until you begin to speak your truth, until you say how you feel, because that's a big part of the development of the soul. And that is what gets me when I see this, young girl who's so trapped and isn't able to use her voice, and is having struggles to make eye contact, and is pulling more and more into the I don't trust anybody. You've got to pull out of that. You've got to let yourself be vulnerable. You've got to take a risk of being hurt. You got to take a risk of what's going to happen, and know all the bad things that have happened to you, you were able to get through those. You'll get through this. You don't have to hide yourself. You have to get comfortable with yourself. How can you love something that you're hiding from? And your soul wants you to. Your soul wants you to pull it out there, wants you to pull forward. It wants you to see yourself. It wants you to accept yourself. It wants you to see this big, crazy story as just a way bigger than what you think. You get so caught up in the little parts of the storyline that you feel, bad about yourself. You're mad at people. You're angry, this and that. And, but when you pull back further, and the more that you can see, I think that is one reason why that they use that analogy so much about that we're in a movie, because it is like you're really in a movie. You're really in a play. And the more you can pull back, and the less that it affects you, the less that it burdens you, the less that it makes you feel, so much stress and irritability. And it's a part of the necessity of being able to pull back so that you can find forgiveness and acceptance of one another, because that is what this transition is all about, is this creating this unity, this development into this like hive mind, into this new age, where everybody's on the same page of being respectful to one another, being loving, being caring. Nobody's out to try and fuck anybody over anymore. Everybody is just like, oh, you need help? Here, let me help you. We're just changing our attitude. But it takes, work, because there's a lot of people who have been hurt, and some people go deep into themselves. Some people go deep into anger. Everybody goes into different parts, different aspects. That's why you got to go in and get your baggage out. You got to go in and release the demons, get all the cobwebs out of there, get the skeletons out of the closet, because it's your burden. It's your burden to hold them back, to keep on trying to hide them. And it's like, you got to let go of it. You got to face this dark side of yourself. You got to face the darkness that you don't want to face. And so you can let it go, so you can come to terms with it. Because the more that you can come to terms with yourself and accept yourself, that is when you create acceptance for others. And that is the goal. It is a part of the goal is for you to learn to love yourself and accept yourself. But in the part of this time period, in this ascension time, in this time where everybody was born here to do this, it is this being able to release and come together so that you can accept. So you have certain souls, I think, that you're even here with, in wrapping up these certain cycles to find these deep closures so that you can release and move forward. Oh, I didn't even think about that too, with this person who I keep being shown as I have this soul connection with, and shown in this past life and stuff, and I think shown in a bunch of different ones. But there's a part of the journey that happened way back then that the cycle is closing now. So what happened then has to go to the other side. So everything has to play out. So you have certain souls that are really difficult for you. They're challenging. But the reason that they're challenging is because it's got deep stuff that you're supposed to be working through. And it's, you know, it's just... the things that seem like they're the hardest and most challenging are the things that people need to change their attitudes about, to come at it more in a analytical kind of way, and more of a, you know, step back and look at it from, you know, your higher self, your more advanced self. You know, look at it from the older side of yourself that is calmer and not as impulsive, and does think things through, and does see everybody as a connected being and not so separated and so alienated in such a victim mentality. So it's, you know, it's breaking free from all of those things that hold people back, all the different ways that people imprison themselves. Because people imprison themselves through not trusting others, being scared to be vulnerable, always needing to mask up because nobody would really like them. I think my food, hold on, I really feel like I gotta turn it off. I don't want to burn it. Yeah, weird. It sounded like I was burning, but still got water going. So anyways, what is it? 1 minute and 1 minute and 6 seconds. So let me think, because it seemed like if there was some other stuff I was going to talk about. Let me think, because I have different things with censorship coming in my mind. And I think that there's a lot of stuff with censorship coming up because I don't know, maybe it's about to be released or something. But there's a lot of stuff like on TikTok too. Like, just a lot of stuff. Just like how on YouTube just came out of the blue all of a sudden and sends me a message. It says that they went in and watched some old video of mine and took it down. They think I probably said it on accident. You know, but I need to watch myself. I need to watch what I say, because otherwise I'm spreading misinformation and stuff. It's like, how in the world does anyone just speaking spread misinformation? Like, I mean, why would we just go in and listen to somebody who's just speaking? If somebody's just speaking, it's just their opinion. It's what they see. It's what they notice. So how is that misinformation? It's what they notice. It's what they see. It's what they're experiencing. So it makes no sense. Misinformation is like you've got some sort of fact and you are changing. It's like, kind of like what they do. Like they've got a fact and then they change it to manipulate us so that we will do something different. It's not good for us. It's like, that's the misinformation. It's like the rest of us are just talking about our opinions. I don't know how that's against the law. But yeah, it's against the law in a world where they don't want you to think for yourself, where they want everybody to be mentally dependent. And and see, that is where they have with so many with these younger generations, to get them so cut off from other beings, other people, keep them cut off from their family members, from older people. You know, what I keep seeing all the time now is all these younger people who are suicidal over, you know, getting older and not looking good and stuff. And that right there should show people where our society is right now, to the younger people. Like to any of us that are older, it's like, you know, we have a totally different perspective, and we grew up at a different time. Like I grew up at a time when we respected older people. And so, you know, now I get this other side of seeing like, oh, well, you know, that made us different, because that's not just an automatic normal thing. And so now we have all these people, these young people who think older people are stupid or a waste of space. That was created. They did that on purpose. And so, but that cuts these younger people off. It cuts them off from connection. It cuts them off from grandparents. It cuts them off from a lot of things, of feeling connected. And so it leaves them. It's like being in mental open water. emotional open water. It leaves you out there just struggling. And then I think so many of them have to close themselves off because it's like being in open water, that then they have to absorb themselves into some kind of artificial world, whether it's social media, whether it's gaming, whether it's whatever it is. You know, they have to find something that gives them that safety net, but it still keeps them disconnected from other people. And so that makes them feel like alone and lonely, and then plus feeling unaccepted. And so, but I think that there is such a big thing about these people who want to kill themselves if they think that they're going to get old and lose their looks. Like, it's more important to them to stay good looking than it is to get older. It's like, man, our world is jacked up. When you've got all these people that keep thinking that, and that shows that they have the disrespect for older people, that they are the ones that think that if you don't have good looks, that you have no value. That it is all coming from inside of them. And it's not like it was just born inside of them, even though it was, because it would be a part of their lessons, a part of their lesson plan is why you're born, when you're born, at the different time periods, at the different times when things are happening. So you would come in to that experience during that direct decade or whatever, so that you could go through an experience, because it was going to have to do with your other lifetimes. Like, it all goes together. And so, you know, it all fits. Nothing is by accident. Everything goes together. There's a reason why all of the different things and why they affect you the way they affect you, and what you're here learning about when you're going through the experience. So it all goes together. So the people who come in to learn that, it has, you know, it could have to do with a lot of different lives, a lot of different things of why they're coming in to experience this other thing. I don't know, maybe they were mad scientists, who knows? And so now they are going to come in and see what it feels like to feel that disconnect, to experience what it is to be disconnected from everyone and everything and feel alone. And it's hard to watch somebody feel so alone and feel so that they can't trust anybody and be so scared. And even this was something, and I swear this was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And when you can go into a place and you've got nobody, they can just over-medicate you, especially if you're not standing up for yourself, if you're not talking, if you're not, you know, if you're just sitting there crying all the time and not talking, then they can just over-medicate you, leave you in a catatonic state, and leave you in the back of the hall for fucking 10 or 15 years. And, you know, then just get paid by the state to keep you fed. And it's weird, but that is a part of the laundry system anyways. I mean, it's part of how they move money through in all these different agencies, these different government agencies. It's all about moving money and grants and getting money over here and there. I still think that it would be really beneficial to have like these kind of ranches or something, where some of these kids that have been displaced by the system could have, where they could go out and kind of grow up, like especially like on a ranch situation where they had to go out and do some work, you know, like farm people, where they had to get in touch with that side of themselves and learn and develop, you know, how to take care of themselves, and then get that connection through living with other, you know, essential siblings out doing the same thing, so that they build up that kind of, because there's the development stuff that they got missed out on. There's parts of their development. Like, they shouldn't have been just taking kids out of their houses like that. Now I've seen more things now. Somebody made a good point yesterday that I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because, you know, they take these kids out of their house and they give them to some other family that doesn't have a lot of money, but they give them money to take care of these kids. And then people don't care about the kids. They only care about the money. And, you know, but what if they would have just been giving that money and the services, instead of giving it to the foster, gave it to the birth parent? gave them all these services so that they could make things better with their family. Because that's one of the biggest problems in these families where there's so much problems, is that the parents are disconnected. The parents are struggling. They've got their own struggles from their own pain and suffering. So a lot of them are strung out on drugs. They're angry. They've been sexually abused themselves. There's like all sorts of stuff. And so a lot of the parents that are becoming abusive, it's because they've been abused. And so if they put more social programming into trying to help the people rather than just displace the kids, because now we've got all these kids that are just screwed. They just got ripped out of their homes in the stage of development that was necessary to our regular way of life. So now we've got to make some shifts. We got to turn some things, you know, and start, you know, coming together as a community, I think. But I do think that some of those, like not like a huge ranch where you just like have 100 kids out there. I'm talking about like, you know, how I kind of see it like a young family. They have a big farm, but you know, they still got little kids. They still got a lot of stuff to do, but they have like a big building out back, say, like a big bunkhouse kind of place where you would have your ranch hands work and stuff. But it's a lot of younger kids, displaced kids, but the people would have to be kind of in mission, you know, to take on the responsibility of telling these kids they got chores and, you know, like overseeing them. But also the goal is independence. So you don't want to be in there giving them rules and being all on top of them. They got to learn to trust inside themselves. But you give boundaries, you give morals, you give some kind of edges to the, you know, like how we needed the ice wall. We needed something to contain us. You know, nobody wants to just be out in open water mentally and emotionally. It's draining. And so you need to have some kind of stricture, some kind of structure around you. And so for the parents of the family, you know, young kids, that they are already in that mode anyways. So, but it's giving all these other ones like chores. But these kids that are out in that building, see, then they get to be like siblings, but they also get to be like older siblings where they're not like living in the house with their parents. They're not burdening the other people, and they have jobs and stuff. So they're not just slaves or workers, because it's still a family thing. They still, you know, there's all times where, you know, there can be all sorts of family things to do. But the whole thing is like a step down for the kids to be able to get that sense of community and get that sibling kind of rivalry or something that where you feel like you have somebody in the world, and you don't feel so alone. So many of these kids, they feel so alone. It's fucking heartbreaking. And a lot of people do videos of them talking to them downtown, and they're homeless and stuff. A lot of them are strung out on drugs, and it's just sad because I know that, you know, we can do better. There's better ways that things can be done. And, you know, and especially like if the parents don't even have jobs, the whole job is just to run this ranch. And it's not, like I said, it's not to have slaves. Like, I think that is something that things have gotten turned into a lot. Just, you know, have no connection, no relationship, just you're a worker. You just work for me. It's not like that. It's like more like a commune. Like, we're all in this together. Like, let's go out and do a big barbecue together. Let's go out and do that. But then also not to have all these teenagers having to live with the people in their house, to give them that more independence where they get to have like their own place, that they have to keep it clean, and they all get their own rooms. And then also to have other like ranch hands, like maybe there's a homeless vet and he needs a place to live. And, you know, you can put your, you know, put a little structure out there, build your little house out there. You can live there for free, but you got to do some work, you know. And to me, it makes sense to have animals and stuff, have horses for the kids to build relationships and take care of, and cows and goats and chickens. Like, they have to go out and clean the chicken coop. They have to go out and take care of the goats. They have to go out and clean the barns and all that kind of stuff. Put in the food. And then you have other, you know, it could be like another person who wants to live out there, and they help with the agriculture. So it is like building like a commune that ends up developing into a community that it expands out more. So I think that a lot of different things can start in a lot of different ways. But we just got to open ourselves up, open our minds, and it's going to make a big difference when people don't feel so burdened by their schedules. They've got to get here, they got to get there. And then people, once they start really getting that feeling inside of themselves of doing good in the world, making something happen for somebody else, making somebody else happy, brings so much joy to your soul. So when we get more into that kind of sense of interaction and being with one another. But anyways, it'll be all these steps. And I think, you know, like this year is going to be hard. This is when the ship's going to turn. And we're in the turn, like we're in the turn. But that is when it's going to head the other direction, which is going to just throw so many people off their game, where they're just so confused. And that is going to create a lot of healing. And then plus the collapse of the money and stuff, that's going to be coming. No matter how long they drag it out, who knows? Because that's like, yeah, right, we're back to, man, do you save money? Try and get some money together so I can get like a bus or something? Is it like, when things go bad, like, I don't know, is there even going to be like U-Hauls and stuff? Are we going to go back to like wagon trains, like where you're not going to be taking all your stuff? You only have a few things, and we're all going to be headed towards lands where it's safe. Just like all of these immigrants that are all coming in on these giant caravans, I think they're moving into safe places. That's the only thing that makes sense to me for all these people. Because why would all these other countries empty themselves out? Why would all the people? Wouldn't there, if all these people who have left these places, wouldn't there just be so many more jobs now in all these places? Why are they all leaving? Why are they all coming here? Especially when they know, to the people who are here, there is no jobs. There's no jobs. There's no place to live. People are broke. They're all coming here because they all want to be criminals? I think they're all coming here because they're being told something. I don't know what they're being told. But I think it is this evacuation of sorts, of moving people out of places. Maybe they know certain places are going to go bad real quick, like what's going on in California. Like, that was pretty scary. That was like a mini tsunami just come out of the blue. And then somebody in the comments was just saying over in Tennessee, they're having earthquakes. And I keep feeling the ground rumbling under me. Yesterday, there was so much with this shooting. So yesterday, I went outside because at first I thought, oh, it's just the construction people have started again, which it seemed like they did start for like an hour or something. But then it seemed to go away. And which I'm always like, oh, I wish they'd hurry up and run out of money. It's fucking bullshit. But when we would go out and walk in the forest, there would always be this big cleared out part. So I always wanted to go up and go around and walk around in it. And so I saw tons and tons of bullets everywhere. Tons and tons of bullets where they go up there and just shoot guns. And so I'm always, when we're up there, I'm always like, come on, let's go, let's go. I don't know who the hell hangs up in here. Doesn't look good. And so yesterday, it was just nonstop shooting, 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 shooting. You know, it was coming from right up there. And, you know, and then when you live out in some of these mountain places, you got extremists, no matter what, you know, got extremists on each extreme side. I mean, you've got a religious extremist who want to cut everybody off and like let them all starve to death. And you got the people who are anti-government, like there's no telling, but it was extreme. I can't believe how much shooting that there was yesterday. It was like, oh my gosh. And then the rumbling too. We hear like an explosion. And the thing over there, was that in Philly or something? Or someplace where the sky started glitching and turning off and on, and then it went dark. And so there's all this stuff. Now they're coming out and saying, oh, that was some kind of what is that called? Transformer. I was a transformer blue. Where the people are like, that was not a transformer. And then there's another place that I saw, and she said all of a sudden, all these lights have gone purple. She's like, I've been showing you guys all these purple lights, but look at this. Now they've got all these. And there's something in some people's blood that shines up in that purple light. So that's scary. You know, because why are they doing all these purple lights? Like, it's weird. And so, and when you know something about the light structure and stuff, then you know, like, it's not good. It's not a good thing what they're doing. The blue light, yeah, it has a thing. And then it's also weird how the lasers don't go into the blue light. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. We just got to see how it all plays out. I don't think that everything that they have planned is going to play out. I think that there's going to be obstacles. They probably are trying to play things out presently and hitting into obstacles. So they'll keep hitting into them because it really is going to change. We really are going to go the other direction. We really are going to go into a time where it's us who have abundance, where we get freedom, where we get to start living like what we were birthed into living. Now it's going to be a change because really, I mean, we were birthed into the experience. We came into experience. But now it's like you went through the experience, but now you get to have the benefit. Now you get to see what life could really have been like. It's like a do-over, I feel like. I feel like it's like a do-over like in Christmas Carol. You go through all of that, you learn all of your stuff, and then you get the do-over. And that's what I feel like, that we're going to go into this do-over where everything gets to be good and we get to experience that part of life. So anyways, now I keep thinking about that stuff, and I've been talking like an hour and a half. So we think, was there something else? Because there's always, I swear to God, as soon as I stop, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot to say that. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. Oh yeah, because this was kind of strange. So, you know, I had made the bread for people, which I think people aren't there yet. They're not into this like wholesome homemade gifts and stuff. Like, I think it's just starting to shift towards that. But so I wrapped them all in these towels that you use when you're baking. I can't think of what they're called, but they're really lightweight, and they're so cool for kitchen towels. Like, and they get ugly quick, and so you're constantly moving them off of the bread and onto cleaning towels. And so I think that they're really cool, bread sack towels or something like that. And so I'd wrapped up everybody's gift, and I made these little ornaments to put on them, you know, and gave everybody. 2 people gave them back. One person didn't give them back, but 2 people gave them back. Gave back all the wrapping and stuff. And then one of the people gave me our gifts in, you know, like a dollar store stocking. And I keep thinking, well, should I just give hers back? Like, maybe I'm supposed to just give it back. Like, that's so, it's so strange. I don't know. And I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to just give it back to her. Give her stocking back, which I think I will. Just because, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And there was another weird thing. Oh yeah, because she had given me a little gift card thing for Amazon. And so I had something in my Amazon thing, and so I thought, oh, I'll go in and pay with this little gift card. And the gift card wouldn't work. But it wasn't for a lot of money. So then I feel like, oh, I don't want to bitch. Like, oh, well, this didn't work. You know, and, you know, it's like, that seems rude. It seems kind of like giving her more things to work on. Like, go figure out why this didn't work. It just seems like, just kind of blow it off and let it go. And then it kind of seems like, well, is that being rude? Like, that's what I say. I'm always going round and round on all these, like, playing them out. Like, think about it this way. Think about it that way. Think about it from all different perspectives. And, you know, it can be time cumbersome, I guess. But, I mean, what else are you going to do with your time if you're not trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it and who you're doing it to and why you're doing it with them. And, you know, there's like something to it to me. So, yeah, but that's what I do is I'll sit there and think all these different things. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to give the stocking back because, you know, maybe that's just a thing or something. And I'm not going to be offended that, here, take your wrapping back. It's like, okay, I don't know. And I feel like that just seems rude to say, here, you gave me that much money and, you know, I need you to figure it out and make sure it works. Over $15. It just is like, and she gave us a bunch of other little things. And even though it seems like, well, she'd probably want to know because it's $15. She'd probably want to, you know, have her $15 go towards something. But it's like, but she is constantly working. She's got so much to do all the time. Seems like that just seems like making somebody have to deal with something that they got enough to do. They got enough on their plate. So anyways, I don't know. There's so many of these things. See, it's all in the gray. How do you just got to figure out what feels right for you. There's no right way or wrong way. Everything is just you figuring out. And everything has a consequence. Everything has a counterbalance. Everything has a way of showing you so that you can learn from it. So it's not like you're ever doing anything wrong. That's why everybody's got to really realize you never do anything wrong. You didn't do it wrong. You didn't wake up too late. None of that stuff. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, exactly when it's supposed to be that way. Everything is right on time. And I swear to God, I feel my food is in there burning again. So anyways, I will get going. I don't know. I probably had more things to say. But I do feel scattered. I do feel weird. I feel so weird. I feel so weird all the time. I feel really weird lately. But I feel weird right now, that's for sure. And I feel, I don't know, just nighttime is just weird. It's just like I'm just up talking the whole fucking time and I'm trying to sleep. And part of me is like, shut up. I'm trying to sleep here. I'm tired. And the other part of me is just like, talk. Oh, what about this? Oh, look at that. What do you think about that? It's like, oh my God. And then I'm going on journeys and, oh man, it's a lot. So anyways, I will talk to you tomorrow if the powers that be allow it to happen. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.